Tuesday night. Here we are. Good evening, Big Ace.
Hello.
How's things?
Good. How was your weekend?
It was okay, I think.
You know,
it was hard. I don't recall.
I guess I don't really. I didn't do really anything or remember anything. I just remember No, I don't.
I remember
football.
Football?
I didn't even watch any of that. I mean, I watched last night's game because I'm a Cowboys guy. So.
Yeah, and they won because of the black cat.
If the Cowboys can actually get like deep playoffs or Super Bowl this year, I'm crediting the cat for all of it.
You got to give it to the cat, man.
The funny thing is, when that happened, like the announcers instantly on TV just were like, "There goes the Cowboys season." Like, didn't even be like, yeah, this is the Giant Stadium this is happening in. Like, they're on a hot streak going into this cat running. They're not like, a string of hot plays. They had a good drive going. Like, why is this getting blamed on Dallas instantly? And then what, 10 unanswered points or something like that to finish those last 2 minutes, and then they just steamrolled them in the last half. So
that's the cat for you, baby.
I love that the Cowboys Facebook actually made a post and they credited the cat as the player of the game.
Hell yeah. The Twins were crediting a squirrel till they blew it.
They blew it.
Till they sucked in. Anyway, point being, so here's something that did happen to me that was kind of cool. I got pulled over on the way home. 61 and a 55. So he pulls me over and he says, why do you think I pulled you over? I says, I have no idea. I mean, literally, I have no idea. And he says, well, your back lights are out on your license plates. I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do about it now. I mean, I wasn't jerky about it, but, and then he says, you're going 61, and I'm like, ah. And anyway, so he takes my stuff, he goes back, he comes and he comes back and he says, all right, well, he hands me this thing. It's a certificate to get my license, to get my light fixed for free.
Nice.
Yeah. No ticket, no warning. Here, go get your thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I bet if you were wearing the mask, he would have just police escorted you to the place.
If I was wearing a mask, he would have taken me directly to jail. He would have said, what the hell are you? I mean, we're looking for a guy like you.
Right.
You've been subjugated to and witnessed as a thief and a fraud.
Something.
Yeah.
So dude just gave you a free coupon for a free light, huh?
Free light of the fix. And the fact of the matter is, it's like I went and got it done today. Took 20 minutes. I'm sure that if I went and had it done, it would be probably $50.
Yeah, for sure.
So instead of getting the ticket, I got a $50 gift certificate to car repair.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I loved it.
I like it. You can't
hate that kind of stuff.
I like a free fix. A
free
fix.
Free. Anyway,
what they had on SmackDown was they had to fix whatever was going on that week.
Oh my gosh, what a deal was that? Should we start with that big gigantic?
Let's plow through the actual shows, and then because I feel like that's gonna just take up a lot of time.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Maybe not a lot though. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much either, but I mean, there's just so much crap going around about that. You don't know what's true. So anyway, and that's because we were talking about the Saudi Arabia, I don't know, the held wrestlers, only like 175 people in there for like however many hours, not getting to leave, which we'll get more into that. But because of that meant SmackDown's like most of their roster wasn't there. So
turned out to be a good show though.
And that's just it. Like, it turned out to be a really good show. And then I see Raw, and it's like, oh, they're going to do the same thing.
Yeah. That was kind of disappointing.
But first of all, awesome. Not awesome, the situation, but awesome for the ratings, because everybody wanted to tune in on that Friday on
Fox. Yeah. They wanted to see what the hell are we going to do.
What are they going to do? Because, Anyway, so and like you said, it was a good show. It definitely was a good show.
And I'll go to this fact. The reason it was a good show, in my opinion, was because you had no idea what was coming. I mean, it was all surprises the whole time. You know, did it turn out the way I thought it was gonna? Maybe. I don't know. I love the fact that I love the fact that Adam Cole came out and anyway. Let's wait on this one.
Well, I want to ask you though before we get into this.
Sure.
Because the whole show revolved around NXT invading down. Now the whole storyline with this is Triple H is doing the whole we saw the thing and then they did the thing and then the thing fighting words. So was that played during Crown Jewel, the Survivor Series promo where it said Raw, SmackDown, NXT? Because I hadn't seen that yet. I was talking about the last 2 weeks that they've not given much light to Survivor Series because it was all just Crown Jewel hype.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was.
Okay, so then I didn't know this going in this SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I once it happened, and then like the commentators kind of made mention to, they're gonna be. And I was like, okay, I get it now. They're invading because they're gonna have like an actual thing, which. And we can answer this question after we kind of talk a little bit about SmackDown and Raw, but I mean, obviously SmackDown lost, or whoever was on the SmackDown thing. I mean, like NXT came out on Friday night. I didn't watch, and again, I didn't watch Raw. I'm going to say that right now. I didn't watch Raw because the Cowboys were playing, and
Well, let's go back first to AEW on Wednesday night.
Yeah, which high point of that whole show, SCU tag
team. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh, the Lucha Bros.
That was totally unexpected.
They really are. Like I thought, like a lot of the AEW stuff would be pretty predictable going in, but was still pumped for it. But I kind of was like, you kind of know who their favorites are, blah 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 blah. But man, like I thought for sure Lucha Bros were the money making tag team on that roster right now, as far as the people blowing up as for a month of TV now.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I got a feeling that what's going to happen is there's going to be a big collision between LAX and the Lucha Brothers,
or a boat,
or a combination, which would be even cooler because it's just I don't know.
Well, the interesting thing too is I noticed that they are advertising Full Gear as the last pay-per-view of the year, so they're not doing any show in December.
Well, maybe that's in deference to everybody having children or families, a lot of them.
Well, I'm just curious to see how they're going to run it. Like, they probably don't have the money, and I mean, they could do it, I guess, if they wanted to, but I mean, they just don't have the need to do a monthly pay-per-view at this point.
Right.
Get away doing one every 2 to 3 months, and it'll be perfectly fine.
They got to give some of those guys a chance to heal. I mean, when they're doing the lights out matches, and drawing blood, that stuff takes a while to heal.
Yeah, because definitely Moxley and Omega is really being built up as it's going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
If you followed Moxley's past, I mean, you know that this guy has done, the most technical wrestling match in the world to the most, death match in the world. So, that's going to be, but I hope that this comes back to where he does get the count. You know what I mean? Like it ends up being sanctioned.
Oh yeah.
Because that is, I do like that they're making use of this whole record win-loss matters by letting it be a storyline in itself, as far as hey, this is an unsanctioned match, so it doesn't count.
It's very clever, and it ties into something that I was reminded of when I watched our old school assignment which was Halloween Havoc in 1996, and I'll mention this when we get back to that. But there was a little part of that I had totally forgotten about when I was of age to watch that program, and it kind of tickled me a little bit. Kind of tickled me. If you're watching tonight on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, give us a hell. Let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe. We've also got some gear. You can find that in the link if you want to buy a shirt and support this fabulous program. So I would say that probably on AEW, two things that are
What's up, Mark?
hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm not Ace, but I'm going to answer anyway. Two things: the Moxley promo and the finale of the tag team tournament, and those were the two top things in Dynamite this week. I thought there were other good things. I just can't remember them.
I was having. I don't understand what they're doing with Brandy Rhodes. The vignette they played with her and Awesome Kong. I don't get it. I guess at this point, like, does it mean she's like going insane? Like, I don't know.
Well, she hasn't wrestled in how long?
Well, but like, even like, and I get it. They did all these shows with no actual lead in as far as TV sell full gear because they didn't have it going yet. So it was off of like the YouTube show or just, indie shows that clips would make on their way on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but like, she's never really had anything going. Like, she got paired up with Awesome Kong, like scared a few people, I guess, but they were like more in battle royals or like really, more numbers matches, not just like singles match. She hasn't had a feud, so I don't know. Just, it doesn't make any sense to me yet. Hopefully it pans out well because I like Brandy Rhodes, but to me, it just came off kind of weird, and I was like, I could have skipped that part of this. Like, that.
Well, I have to think that they're still probably trying to figure out some. They're probably still trying to figure out some stories for some of these people that people don't know yet. Everybody knows Brandy, and she's probably taken a little bit of a back seat, to some of the talent that they're trying to get people to know who they are. And that, I mean, honestly, that in itself could be a storyline that she's taken a back seat to help, and it's affecting her. So I don't know. They've only got the 2 hours. They got a lot of people. They got a lot of talent to try to work in there and get people to know. And it's they're starting from scratch, and I like a lot of people will probably give them a little more leeway than an established promotion like the WWE. Who, by the way, the Crown Jewel thing, I watched the entire thing.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah. The Brock and Velasquez were first, and it was short.
88 seconds, they said.
Yep. And so I don't know why. Well, I don't know why they did that. I think part of it is that in the past, people have not wanted to see like an MMA match in their wrestling. So I think they got themselves in the spot. They want to get him in there. They want to get him used. Apparently, from what I've understand, he signed a long-term contract with him. Velasquez did. So they're going to find something for him to do, I guess. And to be honest, the Fury and Braun match, I felt like was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was slow, to be sure. they had to protect Fury because it was very clear he took some stuff, but there was some stuff that Braun was really careful with.
Oh, you got it. He's got a potential rematch with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So I mean, he made money doing this, but like rematch with him and Wilder, like that's big check, and that's also a chance for him to become a legitimate champion in his profession because he's not.
Yep.
And I mean, Wilder's just a beast, dude. That guy's a killer.
I will say this: go and look at the. If you don't watch anything else, watch Fury's entrance, and it's pretty cool. It was actually pretty cool. I won't spoil it any more than that for you, unless you don't
I saw what he was dressed in.
Yeah, that's what I was. It's like his music was cool. He came out in that native garb, I guess you could call it, and the people went crazy for that. And I thought that was really cool and very smart to do. And then also when he knocked Braun out through the ring, that was I felt like that was a good ending. And I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't see how they could let Braun win. I knew he wasn't going to win, but I didn't know how they were going to do it because I didn't think he'd pin him. But I didn't know what anyway. So, and that, and then the rest of it was sort of exactly what you kind of expected. I mean, it was nice. Of course, the big moment that we didn't know about last week was Natty and Lacey Evans having the first female wrestling match in Riyadh, at least televised.
Which is also one of the rumored reasons why they may have been stranded there.
Well, we can talk about that when we get to it, because I guess we are to it. So here's the thing.
Well, hang on though, because before we get to it, I was really unhappy to see that they just wasted a really good possible moment with Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah,
I'm sick of Brock Lesnar not being able to lose to anybody. When he was there in his prime, right out of the University of Minnesota.
Yep.
Best shape of his life.
Yep.
He was a beast and he was putting people down, but he was still having great feuds with people like Angle and Big Show and Triple A, whoever out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just comes in and like, how are we building up an old man like that when he wasn't like that when he was in his prime? And now he's like an older guy. He's not as quick. He's not as good shape. But we build him up like he's even tougher and meaner now. And it's just, they definitely killed Cain before he even started. And it's horrible, but I'm tired of that. I wanted to go back to old Brock. And then 88 seconds was just like, at least a couple minutes. He had a match in Mexico. It's not like the guy didn't know anything in the ring. Like, he has been training. Let him do a little bit at least, or draw it out a little bit longer with Mysterio being involved, or I don't know, something. But it was just
So here's what I think happens in this scenario, and I think the scenario is, Brock goes on first. Brock and Heyman fly out on their own. They don't even want to be there.
But they couldn't do that this trip.
Yeah, they did.
No, because Hogan, Flair, and Jimmy Hart had to travel with them because their flight broke down. So halfway, they met Brock and Heyman, got on his private jet, and apparently flew home back to the States with him.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He didn't leave right away. He had to wait for that to end.
Oh. Well, anyway, point being this.
Which, yes, usually he would have probably been gone. Yeah. I love how they use that in the storyline. Where it's just like, we're not going on last. We're going on first so we can go.
Point being this, Brock is in a position with the company that's good for Brock and kind of detrimental to the company. I love Brock Lesnar. I told you I met him, and I think good for him, good on him. The problem is that he has got himself in a position where you say you can't lose to anybody. I mean, he should, but here's the problem. When he did lose to Seth Rollins, and Seth got the title. What happened? Nothing. It's not like Seth got the title. People didn't cheer for Seth Rollins because he won. They cheered because Brock Lesnar lost.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, Seth has done what? Carrying a belt. I mean, has he elevated the belt? No. Has he become more beloved as the champion? No. So the problem is not so much Brock, I think, is the company, and I hate to do it because there's a lot of people with talent, but
yeah, but the company that's just, look at what happened with this trip to Crown Jewel, and in the midst of all of that, let's not forget that they also re-inked a deal. So now that Saudi Arabia deal goes to 2027, and now they'll be doing 2 large-scale events a year out there. So company-wise, obviously they don't make good decisions because this is purely money.
yeah.
And again, and if we're talking, when we get to it, we'll get to it, but it's purely money, and it's not mechanical. No matter what they say, there's obviously something else going on, and it's
I'm not in a position where, other than the fact that when they block me because they think I'm abusing their copyright, but
maybe
big deal. Well, maybe you can send me to Saudi for $100 and I won't copyright infringe.
They'll leave you there.
No, well, that'd be fine. You can make a lot of money there. But so I heard any number of things. I'm sure you've heard them all too. Apparently, the word is that they did not pay for the previous show.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Mr. McMahon was upset by this. And apparently, the live feed for the Crown Jewel show in Saudi Arabia and nowhere else started 45 minutes late, which is, about how long, you can expect the Saudi prince to maintain his cool. So if you think about this, even if it was mechanical, I've heard stories that it was mechanical, but the guy that can fix it went home, wasn't there, wasn't around.
Yeah, they said the same thing about a gas truck being parked in the way.
Any number of things. There was a camel stuck by the exhaust pipe. Who knows? Doesn't make any difference. But the point of it is this. My opinion, and it's just my opinion. I can have an opinion. What I think happened was Vince got pissy with the prince. The prince was pissy with him, gave him, because it showed in the books, on the day of $60 million instead of the entire amount that they owed them. Gave him $60 million that went on the WWE's books. But then in return, and because he was upset because the live feed in his country didn't start exactly at the same time it was supposed to and was delayed by 45 minutes because apparently that's what was done to teach him a lesson. He probably said, well, we'll just keep your people here because you got a show to do on Friday. Let's see how you do with your show with no people.
Oh, yeah. And that's, which is funny because that's why the talent, I guess a bunch of them were saying, they're like, we got caught in the middle of a dick swinging kind of. Like literally they were just trying to outdo each other. And it's sad though. Like that's the sad part though, is, you hear like AJ Styles misses his kid wrestling match because he's not able to get home. And you hear, all these people who can't get back. And it's just like, they're just pawns in this game. And that ultimately is just revolving around a big hefty paycheck. And the thing is, like, because there was talk too that this was maybe going to ruin the deal, and I know that they weren't happy about that female match, from what a lot of people were saying too. That it's just like, I don't know. I felt like this could have been an easy way for both of them to just part ways and be done with this.
Yeah.
And I think that would have taken a lot of flack off of WWE and a lot of just not great looks they're getting right now.
Yeah, and the rest of the world.
Because they really, once they signed this deal until now, they've lost people as far as consumers. Like, people did stop watching and paying for their stuff due to that. And it was just a really weird thing to do when there was conflict going on and stuff. So obviously money before all, and obviously cares before, and that's the other thing too, is it's like you're gonna hop on a plane 2 hours before, knowing that you just got into this thing with this dude, and you're gonna just leave almost 200 of your people late. They just sitting there and that's the worst. Weren't they on the plane for like 6 hours before?
Oh yeah.
I had to be on a plane on the tarmac for like 2.5 hours once, and I was about ready to just like go nuts.
I had to wait in the line at the buffet for 20 minutes, and I was crazy.
I mean, that's a little bit long at a buffet. I mean, I'm just saying.
I know. All right. So, and then that moves us to SmackDown, which, let's be honest, when the WWE's back is against the wall is sometimes when they do their best work. Throwing stuff together and letting people kind of, because they can't figure it all out, and SmackDown was pretty stinking good. I loved that because I absolutely did not expect Shayna Baszler to come in and kick everybody's ass. That was the first thing that I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Dan. It's they've got enough guys that they could do it with, but my concern with them is that they always have a problem allowing people to get over. There's always seems like there's harnesses or muzzles on some of these guys, and to be fair, there has to be, and I understand why they do it. To maintain advertisers and stockholders, they need to maintain a degree of control, and so I get it. It isn't necessarily good for the product, but as I've told Ace many times, they're not writing that for me anymore. They're writing it for younger and younger.
But the beauty too of what's going on right now. So many options that you can watch. It doesn't have to be WWE, but yeah, the NXT thing was I liked. I enjoyed Shayna Baszler coming out. That was my exact thoughts were, well, it's about freaking time. Like, she should have gotten a main call up a while ago.
Oh yeah,
and I was kind of actually sad to see that when I realized what was happening. It was like, oh wait, so she's just invading it. So this isn't actually a call up, because they could call her up right now. It'd be perfectly fine. She deserves that spot by this point.
Yeah.
Plus, you got a banged up roster, depending where you put her. Like, big news right now is Alexa Bliss has a shoulder injury and she's out, and they don't know when she'll be back. So, which that's a huge hole now on that SmackDown show. But yeah, I enjoyed that. So now, seeing how they did that, then you got like Brian and Adam Cole and all this stuff. But so are we going to just see like the champions of each one go at it? Is that how we're going to see Survivor Series?
It sounds like that's what they're intending.
So we'll have like, who is it? Becky versus
Shayna, and Bayley.
And then you'll have like Brock,
the Fiend, and Cole.
I forgot that he won.
See, this is the thing. I forgot to mention that because it's just so he wins.
Which, by the way, awesome, because I was really glad to see Seth Rollins go bye-bye for a while.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a minute quick too. Gosh, you see, there's just so much stuff that happens. So first of all, we have to go back one step. At the very beginning of the show, Lesnar comes out and says, "I quit SmackDown. I'm going to Raw." I don't know how that works.
Was that he's doing that to go against Mysterio?
Yeah, because he's going to go hunt down Rey Mysterio. He's going Mysterio hunting.
When does Dominic Mysterio get some action in this?
Yeah, I gotta think it's coming soon. I gotta think it's coming.
He's gotten beat up enough. Let the poor kid have some fun now.
I mean, my God, yeah, he had Cain Velasquez thrown on him.
I mean, let him 619 die. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my God, yeah. But so
it's great though, because it just shows he slammed him onto Kane, right?
no, he slammed Cain onto him.
Okay. I was gonna say then it's definitely father like son, just because you've seen Rey Mysterio be used as a weapon to hit other people.
Yeah.
You know, the big guys catch him, and it's hilarious when I do. Like, one of my favorite things with Rey Mysterio, I laugh every time I see it, and it probably isn't that funny to certain people, but it was like him and like Big Show in a match, and he was on a stretcher, like clasped into it, and he took him off the stretcher, and he was still on the full body backboard clasped, and he like uses him as like a baseball bat against both. And I crack up laughing because I'm just like, this is just funny. He just baseball batted. This is why that guy is like 80% of him is like, you know,
plastic,
15
or
years
titanium.
Old, the rest of his body.
Well, anyway, all right. So in the fill in the ring with the looked like the entire NXT roster at the end of the show was kind of cool. Although I will say this. Man, Triple H is just full of himself. I mean, we already know this, but come on, man.
Well, and this brings me to my question. And like, SmackDown was great. It was genius. It was awesome. They made the best out of a really crappy situation.
Mm-hmm.
NXT really got to shine, which is going to help, you know, definitely help them on USA against.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't think they're going to pull it out over Dynamite anytime soon, but it'll help. But then to see that that's what they were just basically doing on Raw, but like they were kind of advertising it like, oh, he's coming tonight. They're coming. And oh, there they are. They're pulling in. And it was just like SmackDown. All that was like kind of elements of surprises.
Yep.
You know what I mean? None of it was like where Raw just seemed like a really big setup. So it was like, but the other thing with all of this too, though, is it's like, yeah, you saw all the NXT stars for the most part go over on SmackDown. I'm assuming on Raw. I guess I didn't watch, but the big thing though is, does anyone actually see Vince McMahon letting any of the NXTers actually get a win at Survivor Series over a SmackDown or Raw? Because they are developmental. He'll never get that out of his mind, and he's a level guy. They're not the top show. They're not.
Yeah, I think Triple H will really have to do some lobbying if they do. But no, I mean it's you have to remember too that it doesn't really make any difference. I got to think that in the case of the women's match, I don't think there's going to be a clear winner anyway. And
because it's Becky. Yeah, definitely. It's Becky,
Shayna, and Bayley.
I mean, with all that Ronda Rousey coming back, Todd, two there. I mean, this is an easy way to jumpstart, something, because that they like to throw that little egg out or plant that seed a few months. Right around Royal Rumble time, we start to see that actually grow into something for Mania. So, like, now would be the time. Like, drop that little hint that's going to show that come Royal Rumble time, January, WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania, we may actually see the possibility of, MMA 4 Horsewoman versus the WWE 4 Horsewoman, which I think would be a money match. I think everybody would love to see it. Just the match of the 4 girls here when they were, Bayley and Sasha versus Charlotte and Becky. I mean, that one on Raw the first time, like a month or two ago, it's amazing.
Yep.
It was amazing. So, I mean, you get those together, you get them. Ronda Rousey is great, no matter what anybody says. Oh, she's not. No. She put her all into that, and like, she is a legit wrestler. She's good. Yeah. And the other 3 are too. Shayna obviously is killing in the NXT. So are the other 2, and I can never remember their names. That's why I refer to them as the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, so I think it'd be cool to see that, start maybe a little hint of that between the three of them because you already got the players in it.
Yep.
Players are there, so just start mixing that.
Now, as we talk about Raw, the whole idea with Triple H trying to get, and you say you didn't watch it, right?
No, you know what I did see? Here's what I did see because I did switch back for halftime.
Okay.
I saw. Okay, I really only saw one thing, and it was the Bob Lashley.
Yes.
Goddamn Bob Lashley.
Bob Lashley, damn it.
I love Rusev, man. That guy's.
I gotta tell you, we might as well talk about this quick while you mention it. When that started, I thought that was the biggest, most gigantic chunk of crap. I thought, oh my God. And it is turned into such an entertaining, stupid thing. And it's only because of Rusev.
Wow, he's great.
Only because of him. And then he did. I love the fact that he called him Bob Lashley twice. Come on, Bob Lashley. Bob, come on. Let's settle this like men, Bob. If you want her, you can have her, Bob. Bob. It's awesome.
And the rumor is that's going to be a match, him and Lashley at Survivor Series. The only thing missing in that whole gimmick right now, though, is they got to put another girl on Rusev, right? You've got people feeling bad for him now. He's getting crapped on. I mean, all of that. Like, you want to see some, because Alana is going to get involved at that big match when it happens. Wouldn't you want to see someone like take his side?
Not right away. To be honest, not right away. I'd like to see Lana screw him over one more time, and then somebody else says, "Poor Rusev, this is not fair," and then he gets somebody else.
Here's how I would do it, because you already have the whole Bob Lashley's a damn liar. Well, when supposedly he told her he cheated on Lana.
Mm-hmm.
So like have that come back. Have how they used to always be like, oh, now we got video evidence. There's video, but all of a sudden, like remember like when Edge got busted by I don't remember who it was, but when he was making out with Alicia Fox the night before his wedding with Vicky Guerrero, and it was a great moment. So you bring it back to that where it like has a video of him actually like someone like one of the girl on the roster like hitting on Rusev, but him declining. And then like have Lashley and Bagger. So then it's like, and then because now he's all of a sudden like, just fine, you can have her. Yeah. So then all of a sudden it's like, well, now I'm single now,
Yeah.
And then like that's where Lana gets angry.
That'd be good stuff.
Like you could get miles out of this. Really
well, good. Yeah. I'm loving it now. I'm loving it now. One thing that you didn't see then was Seth coming out to do a promo in the middle of the ring where he says, now I know some of you are happy that the Fiend beat me for the championship. And then people applauded.
Yeah.
Because you dumbass.
Okay, real quick though, I did see again at Crown Jewel, the match was in red lighting. I don't like this. Yeah. I ain't gonna be able to. Dude, I can't deal with the red lighting when he just give him regular lightings. Why does it have to be these red lights every time that Bray Wyatt wrestles now?
Well, because the Undertaker is using blue. I don't know.
Even he didn't wrestle with the lights off, though.
No, he didn't, and I agree. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so we'll just go across it. So here's the thing, and I will say this because I kind of half expected this to happen. When Seth was out there, and then Triple H said, "You're either with me or you're against me," and then the Undisputed Era hops up on the ring. And it's like, okay, you know how this is going to go. And then out comes the OC. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm digging this. And then they get, shanghaied with some of the other guys on the NXT roster.
Yeah, I did see this.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, you know what? If the Fiend came out and mandible. I mean, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the Fiend to come out and jawbone Triple H.
No, you know what they're gonna do instead?
Tell me.
They're gonna have him do a Firehouse, or what is it? The
Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, whatever. They're gonna have him do
Firehouse Fun Fry
on the debut of Bad WWE Backstage on FSN
Yeah.
week. Like that's his next appearance.
Okay. I don't know.
Why?
I just was absolutely flabbergasted as to why the champion wasn't there at all.
That's it. Like that's so. Instead, he's going to appear on some backstage show that no one. I mean, I don't want to say no one cares about because I mean Renee Young is the host, and I'll watch anything she's on because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the speculation of CM Punk possibly being involved on this show, it's got people's interest.
I don't think he's gonna be, but
who knows? But
whatever.
That's where your champion makes his first appearance after winning and beating Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel.
That's like if
the show's on so late too. It's on at 9 at night, 11 at night.
Yeah. It's not on at a good time for the people that they're writing the shows for.
Right. Ridiculous.
I heard that the audience last night out I think it was at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island was particularly quiet. And part of the reason was that apparently today, being election day, a lot of the kids didn't have school. And so a lot of parents brought the kids to the show. And apparently some of the younger ones, who were probably much younger than normal, were falling asleep into the third hour.
Yeah, I believe it.
And in essence,
I've fallen asleep in that third
hour. I fall asleep in the first hour sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
But that's because I eat a lot of sugar. I get a little bit of sugar, and then I have low blood sugar, and then I get tired. That's not important. But I also heard that, like, when Adam Cole does his entrance music and goes boom and Adam Cole baby, somebody said it was the quietest they'd ever heard that. And part of it's because if there's a bunch of little kids there, they don't know who that is. And Adam Cole is awesome. I think he's fantastic. And that's one of my favorite themes. Is the Undisputed Era theme. So anyway,
it's like when Kyle O'Reilly would play his belt like a guitar during their theme.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. SmackDown was awesome. I love what they did. Raw was just another whatever.
It was a repeat, really.
It really was. And I don't know. I'm excited to see the first go home show into a pay-per-view of actual network television for AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
This week. I'm excited to see how they do that.
It's going to be very interesting. Have they announced all the matches for Full Gear yet?
No, in fact, I think they were making announcements like today or yesterday or something.
Okay.
I think one of them was going to be on AEW Dark, After Dark.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if there was an issue with those coming out. Maybe they didn't get out yet. I mean, to be real honest, I'm not too concerned on the storyline, the matches, just because, again, this is their first one coming off of having TV leading in. I'm just more interested to see. Oh, hey, I'm really, really interested to see how far this Moxley Omega match goes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they're making it sound like it's going to get very, very extreme, almost CZW like ultra violent.
I'll tell you, man, if it is, I'll enjoy the hell out of it. And I'm not really a deathmatch kind of guy, but I just love the intensity that Moxley brings. And man, when he gets that way, it just seems to bring out the best in whoever he's matched up with. I go back to that match he had with Joey Janela. Holy cow, that I mean, to me, that elevated Joey Janela so much that it's absolutely worth a little bit of blood, and he's used to doing that anyway. But anyway, so that brings us to today. Now, I didn't get to watch NWA Power because I got home a little bit late, so I'll have to watch that afterwards. If anybody happened to watch it, go ahead and let us know what if it was. I've loved it every week. I'm just unhappy I didn't get to watch it when it came out. I'll have to watch it afterwards. And then, as we were talking before, I wasn't able to find AEW Dark tonight. I'm sure it's somewhere. I'm sure I'll be able to watch it tomorrow, but I wasn't able to see it. So that always is when you're not on television, it makes you kind of feel sad. And I'm sad. But you know what cheered me up?
I hope it's Halloween Havoc.
Oh my gosh, did that cheer me up?
1996, and we did this in honor of Halloween last week on Thursday.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And you randomly picked the year, by the way. And if you weren't listening last week and you're listening now, the new thing we're going to do is try to watch an old pay-per-view or just old show, and then we'll talk about it on the next week's show. We started with WrestleMania 26, Shawn Michaels retirement match, and now Halloween Havoc 1996, the year randomly picked by you. You literally just threw it out, and it was a good year.
And it was a good year for a couple of reasons. It was a good year because Hogan had just made his turn at Bash at the Beach literally 2 months before. So the NWO was not completely formed, but it was starting to take some shape. It was before Eric Bischoff was revealed as part of the NWO. Ted DiBiase was the mouthpiece.
Yeah, it's Ted DiBiase, the Giant,
Hall and Nash,
Six.
Yep. And I think that was it.
Yeah, Hogan. Yeah, Big Show. Yeah.
Yep. Now,
Virgil. How did Virgil sneak into the NWO that early?
Virgil was just, man, he's a hustler.
You're not lying. You ever met Virgil?
I never have, but I've heard stories.
Oh, I mean, I gave him money just to leave me alone.
Yeah.
Here, man, stop talking to me.
Sell you some dirty urine for $10.
I'm all good on the dirty urine, bro.
Don't need it.
He was talking about, like, I don't even remember, man. Like, I mean, I kind of remember, but it's kind of graphics. I don't really want to say it, but he was talking about like the divas and stuff while he was giving me my signing, and he signed my encyclopedia. I didn't ask him to sign. Signed all 3 damn pages that he's on.
Oh my!
And then he took a picture of me, which that's all I asked for. Was like, I'll take a picture with you and give you some money. And like, so he did all that. Started screaming about like divas and their vaginas and stuff. And I'm just like, what in the world is going on? Took the picture, and he's like, yo, man, that could be $85. And I was like, here's 20. I didn't say shit. He took it. No one else.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He's not a good negotiator.
Well, also he shows up at a convention where everybody has their photos, their best of DVDs, memorabilia, shirts, all this, and he's got a table with a sign
with nothing,
with like one stack of some photos that he made at like freaking Walgreens before he got there, and that was it.
Hey, baby, merch is moich.
Like, I don't even think he like paid to be there. I think he just kind of went, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, I guess we got to table him back." Like, it was like one of those things. Right? And as people would walk by, hey man, come here, man, let me talk to you. It's like, no, like it's like the people at the mall where they're like, hey, do you want to try this? And you want
sample?
Yeah, and you
sample.
Walking. He was I mean, nice guy. I mean, he wasn't a dick, but it was just
my gosh,
man.
Well, anyway, so let's start. And there were 2 matches before that we know about, but we didn't see them. The first match that was televised was actually a pretty damn good match. Dean Malenko against Rey Mysterio
Mhm.
for the cruiserweight title.
I mean, Malenko's a beast. He always was. You see his influence a little bit on AEW now too.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's just two legends, him and Mysterio for the cruiserweight.
And it was a good match.
And this is back when WCW was using these matches as filler.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they had.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that match turns out Malenko wins. And that match took about, do you recall how long it took?
I don't.
I would say, I'm looking here. It was about a 18-minute match.
I know I had the thing last week where it told me
Yep.
the names. I don't remember where I found
it. I pulled it up right here.
Okay, good.
So the next match reminded me, the next match was DDP versus Eddie Guerrero.
Bang.
And it reminded me that DDP used to use a derivative of Smells Like Teen Spirit as his entrance music.
Hell yeah, man. You ever remember that?
But it's gone by, and then I hear it and I'm like, oh yeah. The thing about it was that they did not allow him, because clearly this wasn't an important match to him either. They did not allow DDP to do his trademark bang before they started playing Eddie's music. So that was interesting. But that was a good match. I felt like
I don't think he was really made yet.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I don't think he was really made yet either, though, because it was him and Macho Man's feud is what really set him off.
Yeah. Well, this is again, it's all nebulous. A lot of people did not have roles until the NWA actually kind of solidified more. But at any rate, DDP beat Eddie Guerrero, and in a pretty good match. Next match, we have an interesting situation because the Giant had just decided to pick up the U.S. Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair and walk off with it. Apparently, earlier in WCW, I don't think was it Monday Nitro at that point? I don't know. But he had the belt, acted like it was his. And Jeff Jarrett was at this point kind of a quasi horseman, sorta, but not really. And so it was he against the Giant, and there was all sorts of shenanigans. It was a pretty good match. The Giant really tossed Jarrett around, and if you want to see how strong Big Show was back when he was young, go back and watch this, because holy cats, does he throw Jeff Jarrett around.
Dude, he looks so young.
Oh, he's young. He did not have a gut on him.
Oh man.
He really was scary looking.
It's funny because I remember when he debuted in WCW, and the whole angle was he was like, what's that? Andre the Giant was like his uncle.
They tried to make him out as Andre's son.
Yeah, something like that. And then he went after Hogan and like, oh, I'm Andre's. Like, nah, dude, you don't even look like him. Like, you're just
anyway. This one ends as a DQ with the Giant winning. And so then Ted DiBiase says, there's one for us, and we've got more coming up. And then the following match is the 1, 2, 3 add them together equals 6 against Chris Jericho. Again, a very young Chris Jericho.
Come on, baby.
And that was an interesting match as well. And we start to see what I was going to bring this up earlier, the crooked referee, Nick Patrick. Now, I knew they had a crooked referee and they were doing this, But holy cow, I didn't think they were doing it this early on into the NWO. And apparently the beautiful thing about it was the neck brace made it difficult for him to pat the mat. And so it was anyway.
Well, they did it because like you couldn't, like, there was no way they were like, you know, when Bischoff was still at WCW, there had to be a way for them to legitimately win matches and stuff, because I mean Hogan became champ before Bischoff was revealed to be behind all of it,
right?
So like there's no way unless they had a ref in their pocket that knows what happened, you know. So I mean, I watching this pay-per-view made me realize like just how smart they really did do that NWO angle from the beginning.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It became a mess. But early, from when it debuted to like that first part of it, like they did a really good job with it.
They made it very, very believable, which was the key. They were not as forced with it as you might be now. They kind of let that NWO thing go organically. And to be honest, at that pay-per-view, there were a lot of people that had NWO shirts and were rooting for NWO. They had really, I mean, they had that cool factor going in. And talking about Rey Mysterio, go back and look when Kevin Nash throws him like a dart up against a trailer. That's one of my favorites.
Hilarious.
I mean, holy cow.
It's like a lawn dart, just like boom.
Yep. The next match we have is Lex Luger against Double A Arn Anderson.
Now, I am a huge Double A fan. I love Arn Anderson, classic wrestling. I just never liked Lex Luger.
Nope. And I'll tell you what, his look in this match with his kind of weird hair, his hair was kind of offsetting to me. It was awkward.
He's just offsetting to me. Like,
oh yeah,
he's the shits. Like, I don't like, he wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
Obviously, that was known from his run in WWF.
Yeah.
I mean, when you try to make him your next Hogan and it just fails miserably, and then you end up with Austin as your next like big thing.
Well, the story was that he wanted to go to WCW, and Sting said, because Sting knew him, said, "Hey, give this guy a try." And Bischoff, out of all the guys that had huge contracts, apparently Lex Luger's was one of the lower ones because they just didn't really need him or want him that much. So they lowballed him, and he took it.
Wonder if they got the Lex Express in that deal.
I hope not.
I
anyway,
he lives in it still, or does. I don't even know if he's dead. I think he's still rolling around somewhere.
Anyway, there's a lot of chair hitting by both guys in this match, and Luger ends up putting Double A in the old torture rack. And to be fair, I mean, out of context, that match was meaningless.
Yeah.
Although I know that those guys had heat before but the announcers didn't do a great job of explaining it.
Well, okay, so now that's another thing with this thing, because here's our announce team. We got Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
All great talkers, all good at what they do. Did not mesh well on this show, though.
No.
Not at all. A little hard, too, listening, because Bobby wasn't in a good spot when he was with WCW, and it's known that he was never really happy over there.
Yeah.
So he just kind of was going through the motions over there.
Yep.
Dusty's Dusty. I think at that time it was just, he's like, I'm Dusty Rhodes. I'm going to talk when I talk. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And then you can just tell Tony Schiavone was like trying to just kind of keep everything in track, in order, but then also kind of like, I don't know, there's a few things that he like really pestered Bobby with, and it was just like, dude, okay, we get it. Move the hell on.
Yeah.
Like, shut up and move on. But it was just an awkward, I don't know. It didn't work.
Correct. Correct.
And this is also going off. I mean, must have just removed Bischoff from the commentary team.
Well, I don't think Bischoff was doing the pay-per-views.
Oh, okay.
I think he was doing Monday night, but I don't think he was doing pay-per-views.
Well, there's one of their wrong decisions because he was actually not half bad on commentary.
Oh, he was good at commentary, but I think just in the iteration that they had, he was probably too much involved in other things to do the play-by-play on the pay-per-views. And to be honest, I don't know that he ever did the pay-per-views. Did he?
I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of the pay-per-views. Yeah. I just kind of watched Nitro.
Yep.
One thing watching this though, it made me realize because this is when they were really picking up steam. This is WCW starts beating WWE, and that he goes on for a few years. And it was funny because at this time, WWF was still running a tight production ship.
Yeah.
For what they had. So you watch this and you see the miscues happening in the show for Halloween. Perfect example when we get to the main event. Bruce Buffer's giving the announcement and billing Hogan, but they're playing Macho Man's theme song over the entire giving Hogan his billing. And then they shut it and whatever. And it's so funny because that happens now on Dynamite, and people, this is why they'll never beat WWE. Yeah. This is why they just can't. You see that, you guys? This is the same shit. It boggles my mind.
There are
when I watch that old stuff, and it's just like people now need to just stop, just enjoy all of it, or don't enjoy it. I had somebody tell me like, oh, just stop. Like, why are you even comparing? Just watch them and enjoy. And it's like, well, because I'm a fan. I'm going to point out what I like about each one and what I don't like about each one because it's what I love. So I'm going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
But don't tell me that I have to pick one. Like, you're the ass then. Like, dude, like, listen,
you don't. About it. It's like you don't pick. It's like if you liked apples, I like Honeycrisp apples better, and I like Gala apples. But if my only choice is a Gala apple, I'll take the damn Gala apple. I won't like it, but I'll take it because I like apples.
Yeah,
apples. That's pretty clever, I thought.
Anyway, I don't know. It was funny watching that though, because I was just like, man, this stuff happens now, and people ridicule the people doing it. Like,
oh yeah,
oh my god, you see they missed this camera angle, and it's like, well,
there's a lot of stuff like that goes on. If people want to pick at that stuff, it's one thing.
It's just crazy though, because back then that wasn't happening.
Oh gosh, no.
Like people just didn't care. They were still just pumped that they're about to see Hogan and Macho Man go at it again.
Absolutely. So let's hop to our next match. We got Steve McMichael and Chris Benoit with their wives, Woman and Deborah. I don't know if Benoit and Woman were together at the time, probably, but then they got the Faces of Fear, who were part of, who's Mengen the Barbarian, part of the Kevin Sullivan entourage. Jimmy Hart's with them. Kevin Sullivan, Conan, and Bossman are out sitting in the audience. So you kind of knew something was going to happen. This was like, I always liked Mengen the Barbarian because they're just so bloody scary.
Haku.
I never liked Steve McMichael.
He's I'm trying to think of who he can be compared to now, which he can't because the product's pretty fast now. Like everybody's got to be pretty decent, but I mean, like he's just that cliche. Like he's kind of
like JBL a little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like JBL had some wrestling skills where Michael didn't. He was just a talker, and he had a look, and he was a football player, and then got like in with the Horsemen.
Yeah,
I don't know. I never was a fan of him, but the match wasn't awful. It was a little weird.
It was a lot weird
watching Benoit, like the interactions with him and and woman just because
Yeah.
you know how that story ended.
Yeah.
So that was just a little weird, but it was like, and it's a little weird to watch because at the end when they like come in and do the melee, and Kevin Sullivan actually has woman face to face, and like you gotta stop this.
Yeah.
Like really weird to then like know, because if you know the story behind that, like the real, you know, how he basically was like, the story is you're gonna cheat on me with him, but like you need to really actually be with him 24/7 and basically really cheat on him. And then like just the weird shit about how people think he might have been involved with the whole death.
Yeah.
It's just like it was really like all that was in my head a little bit while watching that match, just because you can't not think about that.
Yeah, you know, me too. And watching Benoit jump off and do those headbutts, I just think to myself, holy cow, that poor bastard scrambling his brains more than he even knows. Way more than he should be paid than he got.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, the win comes off of getting belted in the head with the old Halliburton case, and whatever. And then we get a schmaz at the end, and yippity doo-dah. The next match is the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, against Harlem Heat. And Harlem Heat at this point has two managers. They got Colonel Parker, who I didn't recall even being around that much, and Scary Sherry.
He wasn't around a lot, but he was there. He was weird because he wasn't around a lot in WWF, but he was there for a little bit. And he wasn't around a lot in WCW, but he was there for a little bit.
Because part of the reason is that I think, when I watch it now, I kind of get this sense of like, you know, white guy carrying around his black guys. It's like,
most definitely kind of had that feel, kind of not just because it's Harlem Heat, like their attitude also is they'll just beat everybody up. But I mean,
and I just always felt like they never really needed anybody, but having Scary Sherry was good because she's a freak.
Well, and I think that's why he was involved, because they were saying something about, did you catch that? There was some storyline between Sherry and the Colonel.
Oh yeah, they were supposed to get married and then they didn't, or some stupid crap.
When Scott Hall kisses her in the ring, like they all. So I mean, obviously that must have been, and because he sold them out too, like he gives the cane up and just takes off. Like
here's the cane.
I love that. Like I'm out. They're gonna kill me otherwise. I'm out. But
I will say it was a good match.
I think it was one of the better matches on the card.
Absolutely. And there were a couple things in there to mention. One is the infamous Scott Hall spitting on Stevie Ray, that was not intended. I mean, Scott Hall just did it. You've heard about that, yeah?
I don't know if I have.
So Scott Hall, Scott Hall spits on him. Literally just spits on Stevie Ray, and then runs over and tags Nash and gets out. And it's like, and they've both done shoot interviews about it, and they're both cool about it. But you know, the question's always, Stevie Ray, were you gonna do? Did you know he's gonna? No, I didn't know he was gonna spit on me. And he says, at the time, I was pretty goddamn mad about it. And he says, I definitely did not want him to tag out, but he got out the ring. And he says, we talked about it since, and we're all fine with it. He says, it just happened. He did it. It felt like it was the right thing to do at the time, he says. And it sure made me mad. So it worked. It got out of me what I wanted to get out. But it was a fantastic match, and it just worked out great. Used the Colonel's cane to win the championship, and now at this point, the NWO has all of the belts with the exception of cruiserweight, and one of them's a stolen belt. So that was pretty cool.
Right.
And then the big finale is Hollywood Hogan in his Max Headroom Sting wig.
When he came out through the crowd, like it took me a few minutes to finally be like, is that him? Like,
yeah.
And then then further on when he got in with the hair, and I'm like, that's fake, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
remember this. That's fake though. Like I'm almost positive he was bald when he turned on them and joined the NWO. And,
Mhm.
like, but it made it that much. Like what that match really told me about is because you know that you hear about all the stories and how Hogan like kind of overran WCW and like him hauling that like they were running the show, they were putting themselves over,
Mhm.
whatever they wanted to do was happening. But this was one of those matches where he definitely made himself the ass of the jokes.
Oh yeah.
And it was really good. And it was a good time and person to do it with.
Mhm.
You could have did that against Goldberg and it would have never translated.
Oh right.
But that fact that it was Macho Man and just like I really actually enjoyed that match.
Yeah.
Just
Savage was absolutely loved.
yeah.
And Hogan was absolutely hated by most people. And you know, of course, you had your certain amount of people that were fans, but it became kind of you know, as you might expect, um, a mess with the referees. A referee gets hurt. They apparently only had 3 referees in WCW. One of them was Crooked Nick Patrick with his sore neck. And because he had a sore neck, he certainly couldn't help the injured referee out. So the other able-bodied referee helped him out. And Nick Patrick stayed in the ring and helped with the whole cheateroo, but also in the whole scenario, the Giant comes back and gets involved and choke slams very delicately, I might add, because the padding was clearly not as good back then as it is now. Delicately choke slams Savage outside on the floor, tosses him back in, and then Hogan gets the pin and retains.
The best part of this whole match.
What's that?
Elizabeth came out.
Oh, that's right. Yes, and you didn't know who she was for,
which was stupid. That was dumb. Like Tony Schiavone was totally like, I can't tell whose side she's taking yet. Macho Man punched Hogan in the face, and they show her outside, and she's and it's like, what do you mean? And she's obviously cheering for it. Like she hopped in the ring. Whatever. I've always loved Miss Elizabeth. I always thought, like, when I was a little kid, that was like one of my first crushes when I saw her. It's like, you know, and like I always just thought like that was a great pair just because she never had to say much. He worked the room. You know what I mean? Like it was just great. It was really, you know, and even when they weren't together and they were like kind of feuding when he was with Sherry and WWF, like even those were great times.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I enjoyed it.
Now
it was shortly after this, so that him and her both joined the NWO, right?
Yes, she joined before he did.
Well, obviously, because she had that business relationship,
the business contract. So then, 2 final things to close this whole thing out. So the Giant, so apparently Hogan is completely knocked out. The Giant brings a great big huge bowl that's full of ice and water, and he's trying to get in the ring, and he spills like half of
most of it.
It's like, well, you kind of fucked that up. But then he throws it on Hogan, and Hogan acts like, oh my God, it's
because he got hit with the foreign object.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any. I mean, the water's not going to wake him up.
No, but that's just another great touch to the heel angle. They were the heel, you know, the wake up. Where am I? What? Or like Arn Anderson did that too. He had that great heel move with Luger where he got hit so hard he didn't know where he was, and he just started air swinging.
Yep,
those are great.
Air swinging is fantastic.
Oh, I love it. Like bring more of that back.
And then as Hogan and the Giants celebrate, the bagpipe music hits, and now this is one thing that while I liked it, I didn't recall how really sort of shitty it was. Because what happened was you got Rowdy Piper making his debut in WCW to call out Hogan. And clearly they're both walking on each other. as they're doing the stuff in the ring. And I'm like, he's telling Hogan to shut up, and Hogan's trying to play with it. And then it's like back, and every time it's like they're not giving each other time to finish what they want to say.
Well, and you kind of wonder too. I mean, like, Piper makes the reference to, "Oh, I'm shooting off the hip on this one,"
And he might well been.
and he might have been. He'd been removed for a while, and let's be honest, that was stuff that was always kind of brewing because Hogan got the limelight. Everything was Hulkamania. And the true story is about that is the only reason Hulkamania became what it was because someone had to hate whoever Hulkamania was against, and
Right.
there was no one better than Rowdy.
He was the guy.
I mean, one of the biggest shams in professional wrestling history, in my opinion, one of the just things that should have never happened that did, is the fact that he never got a legitimate title run with any world title.
Yeah. I think people would have loved it.
Yeah, especially within WWE.
Oh my God, yeah.
At some point, he should have, even if it was just a 3-month stint, he should have had some time with it. He definitely deserved that. I mean, he was one of the best heels of all time, ever.
Absolutely.
And the influence just shows. I mean, look how much money WWE made off of Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm.
Who did Ronda Rousey steal the gimmick from?
Absolutely. Roddy Piper.
That's who she was mimicking.
Yeah.
So it's but I mean, this thing was a mess. I mean, the music didn't play a lot over the right speakers first, so people heard it and were kind of just like, oh, it's just kind of music, I guess. The
music didn't play. They ran over time immensely. Shivani's like, we got to go. And they're still trying to hold on as long as they can because they're not done. They're like, maybe they'll finish, but they never finish. They're still yapping along.
And that's what makes you think that was a little bit shooty because he could have skipped some of that and just got straight to the point and be I'm the only guy you never beat.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, and I'm sure it was. And in that instance, I think Hogan was probably kind of in a spot where he's like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
So,
overall, though, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view. Did not enjoy the Slim Jim looking posts of the ring.
Yeah.
That was just a bit much, man. Tone it down. I get Slim Jim sponsored the damn show, but geez.
Oh, but let's think now. This is before they were good at doing stuff like that. This is before. I mean, look at the graphics that came floating in.
Oh yeah.
For each match. At the time, I'm sure we all thought that, oh God, that is so cool. And it's garbage now. It's like a 3-year-old could do it.
Right. Yeah.
But that's just the way that technology was. And I got to think that that's the way it was for the ring posts and all the advertisements, because as they go on, they make the entire set.
Oh, and they were ahead of their game, though, on that aspect, because WWF at that time was not using advertisers on their stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we just saw AEW this last week had Rick and Morty turnbuckles and posts.
Yeah. And wrestlers.
And wrestlers. This is very, very true. I don't know. I enjoyed it, though. I thought it was a good show. I was glad we watched it.
Me too.
Food for thought. That's the exact same building that Double or Nothing just went down in, which was
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was the MGM Grand. So yeah, that's the same building that Double or Nothing was down.
Gosh, that's right.
And that's that's a lot of wrestling's gone down in there.
Very historic.
But it's cool to see how that show to what they did now. It's just cool to see that. So. Yeah, Halloween Havoc was fun. I don't know. Man, there's only that few year window where they're really good with the ECW before it's just oh, hey, NWO 5 is going to wrestle NWO 10 tonight, all right? So
basically what happens is for the NWO, the real good years are from approximately summer of 96, because I'll still go back and watch Bash at the Beach. The Third Man, I'll still go back and watch that. It's just for me, one of my favorite moments in wrestling is that Hogan turning evil. And then from there until about, I'm going to say it's maybe 2 years at the most before the NWO starts imploding upon itself.
Right.
Before you've got everybody and their dog that wants to be in it, and then but they really don't, and then you get the NWO Wolfpack, and then it all, and then bubbling alongside of it is the whole Goldberg thing, where he's and where and that's the thing that puzzles me, is out of all of this, how does this thing kind of just sort of slide by under the radar on the right side until somebody says, "Oh shit, we got this is going on." I mean, was somebody were they actually planning it? But it's just sort of on the side because the NWO is the most important, and Sting in the Rafters was also good. I loved that part of the whole thing. But this Sting was still, and amazingly, Sting wasn't even in that.
Oh yeah, he was not on Halloween Havoc 96, but he was like mentioned, like he was still a part of it.
Yeah.
Like in the commentary enough that it's like you knew he was around. They didn't show him in the show, but this is also during that time period where it's like right before he comes back.
Absolutely.
The Raven.
Well,
in the shadows.
He becomes the Raven when they start to question the is it War Games? I
don't remember.
Yeah, there's a NWO team and there's a WCW team, and Luger, it's Luger, Sting, and Macho against Hogan, Hall, and Nash. And Luger somehow, because of a stinger splash, Luger gets knocked out and has to be carted off. And then the WCW guys all think, well, he did that on purpose. And so now there's a question of his loyalty. And because then they also come up with the fake Sting.
He was the best.
The NWO fake Sting.
Fake Sting forever. I only liked fake Sting 29 though. He was the better one.
But anyway, it was nice to remember it, and I love to see the infancy of the NWO and as it started to organically grow.
Yeah, this was history making wrestling. What was going on? I mean, you saw him turn in July. There might have been another pay-per-view after that, but I mean, this Halloween Havoc 96 was like probably one of the big first pay-per-views NWO really had a run at. Yeah. So, again, you got a rematch of Macho Man versus Hogan, which you didn't think you'd get that. I mean, everybody remembers when that happened, when it was him versus, the mega powers explode, and whatever. But, and then Piper coming out. It was a solid show, and it was a real big show that started to really kind of show what the future landscape of that business or that company was going to be. So yeah, it was fun. What should we do next, though?
Well, we've done one WWE. We've done.
By the way, while we're talking about this, did you see The Rock was at the UFC fight?
No, I didn't.
He gave out the BMF. I guess it's the Bad Mofo belt.
Oh, no kidding.
Not actually Mofo though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was over at the UFC fights for that. The Nate Diaz and Jorge Masada, or however he says his last name.
Cool.
Masada, whatever. Yeah. It was Nate Diaz threw some shit talk to him afterwards. It was funny.
Perfect.
Like, don't be in my cage all smiling and shit.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was a potentially great match too. I watched that UFC match. I rented that card, and that Diaz Jorge match, if they would have let that thing go, that could have been a real epic match. It was a shame to see the doctor shut that down, especially because Diaz was good to go. He was ready to keep going. He was just getting going. So,
well, you got to be careful nowadays.
Yeah, but
So we've done WWE, we've done WCW. Do you want to do? Would you like to do Would you like to do an ECW?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Yeah, because and then we'll have to get a Survivor Series in here since it's that time of the year.
Oh yeah,
maybe was War Games kind of the fall brawl?
Fall Brawl. Yeah, there was a World War III, there was a Fall Brawl, and then there was War Games.
Yeah, so we'll have to watch one of those. But yeah, let's do an ECW.
All right, look it up quick, because you have a better opportunity to look it up than I do. And anything I would say that would, I mean, obviously Shamu's in all of them, or Samu, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer is going to be up in Fargo, by the way, for First Wrestling. God, he's only 8 years younger than me.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I could, because I remember watching some of the ECW stuff, but I don't remember watching it all. But it definitely had that same kind of feeling as AEW does now.
Yeah, let's do November to Remember.
Perfect.
1998.
98 November to Remember. I'll mark it down. We'll recall it. Next week, that'll be our old school review.
Looking at it, it looks to be, I think this is our main event, just so a little tease of what the main event was.
All right.
Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and Taz versus Bam Bam Bigelow, Chris Candido, and Shane Douglas.
Wow. All right. I'll buy it.
Coming to you live from the Lakefront Arena in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, we're November to Remember 1998. If you guys want to join in that conversation with us next week, you have a week to watch it.
Sounds like a winner to me. You got anything else coming up this week?
Briscoe Big A show will have a new episode coming out either this weekend or Monday.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna get that done this weekend. Wes just got back from Africa wrestling, so we're gonna talk about that stuff. We'll
I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I'll try to get his thoughts on the Saudi Arabia situation. See what he has to say, since he can sometimes have a little bit more of an insight on that one, since he knows some of them and been there and all that jazz. And then there's also a new MPH episode out, which is the Mega Power Hour.
Oh, cool.
That I do. So yeah, new episode came out this last weekend, so you can find that anywhere. Just search Mega Power Hour. I'm gonna change that soon to just MPH to make it easier. And then this every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night. I'll be in Danbury, Wisconsin tomorrow night, Wednesday, November the 6th.
Gonna be out in Danbury.
Yeah, at the Turtle Lake Casino. Come on out, join the throng of people in Danbury that are just starved for any kind of entertainment. Any kind.
Turtle.
I'm not even going to do anything, but I'm going to bring a cassette player and just play it and sit there and watch the people's reactions. And then they'll watch my reaction to their reaction, and it'll be just like I'm watching some garbage on YouTube. Reaction video. It's my react. I do a reaction, and then you react, and then I react even more. And then we all have a good laugh about it, and then I get my free dinner and go the hell home.
Yeah, free dinner is always nice. How far a drive is that for you?
I think it's well, I'm going to be on the north end of town, so it won't be nearly as far. It's probably about an hour and 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
that's not bad. It's not bad. But bad news is it's at a casino, and casinos don't agree with me because they got ways to lose your money. And I kind of have a tendency to do that. But anyway, regardless.
Don't bet on wrestling. Best advice I can give you.
You never come out on top. Never. All right, my friend. Enjoyable show as usual. Thanks to all that watched and commented We appreciate it very much. Give us a subscribe. Go check out our Patreon. Buy a shirt or something if you want to. Links will all be in the description. We appreciate it very much. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you next week on the Masked Comedian X-Cast.